What if you got fat on purpose and documented the whole thing, and then boom, the light bulb went off and I was like, okay, maybe I need to do this. Put on 75 pounds in 6 months.
Somebody's going to see this video.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, yeah, but Drew, you're not.
I had a client tell me, Drew, you don't really understand what it's like. For you, it's been easy, but for me, it's really hard to do that.
You don't really know what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes until you actually walk in their shoes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought it was like a prank at first. When you
Oh,
said,
really?
Yeah, I'm like, you stop it. You know? And then he did. I'm like, yo, this dude's really getting fat again.
Yeah.
Press start, now I'm inside of the game. Eyes full of rage, voice saying rise from the grave. Pixelated grass, bricks full of power-ups. Hoping one to steal, I hit it to bring a flower up. Running shoes from Sonic, looking for...
Okay, guys, about to meet up with a dude named Drew Manning. It's amazing, really dope. Drew Manning founded Fit to Fat to Fit. And basically what that means was he was fit. He literally forced himself to get fat, gained 75 pounds, and then got fit again because he wanted to know the journey, the experience that people that were overweight, what they actually was going through. So this is a very empathetic way of approaching the fitness industry, which I think is there's just not enough empathy going on. And I think he exemplifies what it means to be a leader, a CEO, and somebody you kind of like want to look up to when it comes to how the fitness industry should work. And just his incredible story. So, yeah, man, he'll be here in a minute, and I just want to make sure that you guys, his story is told in a way that really connects with people. So let me know your thoughts after you guys see this interview. This is Travis Believes, and I am here with a special guest, Drew Manning, which is the founder, CEO of Fit to Fat to Fit. This is an amazing guest. He has an incredible journey, and I felt like it really needed to be told. It's something that I've never seen before. It's a story of a man that really dives deep into the psychology and the physiology of what it's like to be fit and then get fat and then get fit again and then take you through the entire journey. I mean, we've all heard of these method actors, but it's not the same because these people are getting paid millions of dollars. You don't really see exactly what's going on behind closed doors, but this guy gives you everything, the whole entire, just the whole kit and caboodle, right? So this is going to be a good interview. I can't wait till you guys see it, but yeah, so Drew Manning.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here. So Fit to Fat to Fit. Should I start from the beginning?
Yeah, start from the beginning, man. Let's go. Let's get it going.
So I grew up in a family of 11 brothers and sisters, first of all, and we all played sports. So for me, football and wrestling were my life. So I was always active. I was always fit. And then naturally I became a personal trainer in 2009, with the mindset of I want to help people get fit.
Right.
So here I was, someone who had never been overweight a day in my life, trying to help people who were overweight pretty much the majority of their life. And this is the huge issue that I have with the fitness industry is like you have someone who knows nothing about what it's like to be overweight, trying to help someone who's been overweight their whole life. And in my mind, I was like, oh, it's so easy. You eat healthy food, you work out, put down the junk food, you go to the gym. Like, how hard could that be, right? Because in my mind, it was easy. And then my clients would tell me, or they would struggle to be consistent, right? They'd be like, oh man, Drew, I went out with some friends and had some drinks I know I wasn't supposed to, or Drew, I was really sore and I didn't go to the gym like I was supposed to. And I'm like, why can't you just do it? You just do it.
Right. It's like at the time you're thinking like, yo, this can't be that hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have that mindset of like, because it's easy for them, so they think it should be easy for other people. And so I had a client tell me, Drew, you don't really understand what it's like. For you, it's been easy, but for me, it's really hard to do that. And I was like, okay, well, why is it so hard? And so I started thinking of ideas like, man, maybe I don't understand. Maybe I need to learn something as a trainer. So it was one of those light bulb moments where I was thinking of ideas and boom, this idea entered my mind. Like, what if you got fat on purpose and documented the whole thing? And then boom, the light bulb went off and I was like, okay, maybe I need to do this. So this is back in 2011.
Wow.
Put on 75 pounds in 6 months. Wow. And I'm sure I'll give you some footage so you can show everyone the changes. But it was so hard. It was so humbling. It was like nothing I imagined it would be. And the cool thing about it is it really showed me how wrong I was
Yeah.
in my approach to helping people. And the biggest thing I took away from it is empathy. And that's why I'm wearing this
first.
shirt. Yeah, exactly. Because this world lacks empathy. I lacked empathy. I couldn't understand why it was so hard. And for me, empathy is listening to understand someone, not listening to critique or respond or judge or correct. Listening to understand. And before, I didn't listen to understand. I listened to respond as a trainer because I thought I knew it all. Until I did this journey, was humbled, put on those 75 pounds. I was like, holy shit, can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, I was so wrong. This is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And then what I did for the next 6 months is I walked the walk and actually lost the weight. But that was humbling in and of itself. And it just opened up my eyes to just to how powerful the emotional connection to food is.
Yeah.
Right? In my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, you just stop eating the junk food, not knowing anything about emotional eating or experiencing what that's like until I did this journey. And then when I went back to fit, trying to eat healthy again, it was the weirdest thing where my body felt miserable. The food didn't taste good.
Wow.
I was starving all the time. And I was like, this is what my clients have been telling me when I give them a meal plan. And I'm like, here, do this, follow this, and be perfect at it. And they would struggle. I'm like, why is it so hard? Until I experienced it myself firsthand, my own body was craving the high that I got from those foods for the past 6 months. It wanted that high again.
Yeah.
So it was going through these withdrawal symptoms almost.
Yeah.
Very eye-opening.
Yeah.
And so we'll stop there. I'm getting out of breath just talking.
So, what's incredible about that, I think is, the whole empathy first.
Yeah.
I was just learning through, the story you was just telling me, we don't really understand each other.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times we are trying to teach people, we're trying to educate people,
Yeah.
but we don't even understand the other person's story.
Yeah.
Right? We think we know more than them because we're in a position that they want to be in, but
Yeah.
we don't know their journey. So what is so keen to me about the whole empathy first is I believe it is kind of like the key to really like human connectivity.
Yes, 100%.
You don't really know what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes until you actually walk in their shoes.
Yes.
So when you did that and you actually, how did this change how you actually approached your clients?
Really good question. So before, my approach was all physical. Like, okay, you're struggling.
Yeah.
Change up your macros, your calories, your workouts, your supplements. Like, I thought those physical things, if I just manipulated them a little bit, would be the spark for them to then lose the weight. But I had zero know-how or knowledge on how to help them overcome their emotional challenges.
Yeah.
So when I went through this journey and felt the powerful emotional connection to food and realized just how wrong I was, then I shifted all my focus to helping those people on the mental and emotional side.
Yeah.
And here's one thing I truly believe. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Amen to that.
And so
Yeah.
that's the thing. You could have all the accolades, all the certification, all the knowledge of how to fix someone. But if that person doesn't feel like you actually care about them, it's going to be really hard for you to want to listen to this person. Because
Right.
if they lack empathy, there's no human connection. There's no relatability factor with that person. And this is the problem with most trainers is that they got the six-pack abs, they got the body that everyone wants. And so people think, oh, I want that person to help me.
Yeah.
But does that person really know your struggles and can really help you through those emotional struggles?
Yeah.
This is why empathy is so powerful and so important. I'm a huge fan of Brene Brown.
Yeah.
And
love
she
Brene
says,
Brown.
she's like, it's really hard to hate someone up close. And this is what I love. This is what's so hard for people in 2020 to do is take time to, instead of judging them based off a social media post or a meme that they posted that you disagree with, and you just make all these assumptions about that person. If you sat down and listened to that person's story and you just listen to understand, not listen to, judge them or critique them or respond to them, you listen to understand, you'll see them through a new lens.
Yeah.
You're like, I get now why you are the way you are. Like, that makes perfect sense. And I was judging you before because I had limited information.
Yeah.
So all of these kinds of things helped shift my perception of what success looks like in health and fitness and what the real struggle is for people. It's not a new diet. It's not a supplement. People think that's what it is. People think it's just a physical, if I just had a new workout routine, or if I could just be consistent with my diet. People have to do some deep work on themselves to overcome these emotional challenges that have stuck with them sometimes since childhood. It could be trauma, it could be abuse, could be, who knows? It's up to that individual to figure out what it is that's keeping them back. It's not the diet, it's not the workout program. It's some type of, and this is where a psychologist or a therapist would be better than I am, but it is some type of emotional hurdle that's been keeping them back. I was so obsessed with what my body looked like on the outside. I think so many of us growing up insecure in our 20s and 30s, we try and fit in. We want our body to look a certain way on the outside to be accepted by society. And I bought into that lie. I bought into that myth that I am my body, that my body image is my self-image. And so many of us don't know how to detach from that. And it wasn't until I did Fit to Fat Fit and was truly humbled from that experience, I wasn't as obsessed anymore. But it's about health now, and it's about being able to play with my daughters, being able to stay active and not feeling like my body's breaking down, and it's hard. We give up on ourselves because we don't see the results. We're doing it just for the results, thinking those results are gonna bring me happiness. You have to learn how to be fulfilled from within first and foremost, before you can go after these outside sources of happiness. And so that's what this program is about.
So that, listening to you, I'm gonna throw you a curveball with this question because it's kind of making me think. So a lot of times when I speak to trainers, because I know a lot of trainers, and there is high recidivism in terms of people becoming fit and then not keeping with the program.
Yeah.
With what you have learned with being more empathetic and then really kind of like coaching more of the mindset, have you seen a higher success rate in people, kind of like keeping off the fat and stuff like that and being more fit?
It's a good question. So I actually haven't worked with people one-on-one for a long time.
Okay.
So a lot of this stuff, the way I reach people, because you kind of have to trade off between, if you're going to work with people one-on-one, you can only work with so many people, right?
Right.
So when I did Fit to Fat to Fit back in 2011, that whole story went viral and I kind of built a brand.
Yeah.
I kind of took a step back from impacting the individual to trying to impact the masses. So this is how I'm trying to disrupt the industry, is not by one person at a time, but being able to take these lessons that I've learned and not intertwine, or weave them into my programs.
Yeah.
So that, because if I sell a self-love program in the fitness industry, no one's gonna buy that. But if I sell 6-pack abs in 30 days, so this is my approach now, is yes, there's a physical aspect to weight loss and that catches people's attention. It's kind of like the bait. But from there, when they bite it, then it's like, oh, here's this emotional stuff. Here's the spiritual stuff that Drew's talking about. And then boom, along this journey of them consuming my content, then they become more self-aware and they have more tools at their disposal to help them overcome those mental and emotional hurdles. So I wish I had a way to track, okay, are people actually keeping the weight off?
Yeah.
For me, it's more so, it's not so much about losing the weight and keeping it off. It's about them learning how to love themselves. And then what happens when you operate out of a place of self-love versus self-hate, then what happens is you don't really care so much about the results. You care about living that process.
Wow.
Because it feels good to you and you're worth feeling good. Like, you're worthy to feel good. So eating healthy food, exercising, before that looked like a chore with that perception. Now you've shifted your perception. You love yourself enough to where you're like, man, I like to treat my body kindly by eating real food because it feels good, and exercising because it feels good, and no longer is it a punishment. And when you fall in love with the process, then what happens, and you don't really care so much about the results, then the results actually end up coming and sticking for the long term. So this is a process. It's not something that's like 30 days. It's going to fix people 60 days. This is like a lifetime of learning how to fall in love with the process because you're worth it. Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay.
Somebody's going to see this video.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, yeah, but Drew, you're not.
Don't let me do the truffle shuffle.
So tell us what you're going through now, because somebody's going to see this and they're
he doesn't make me fit. We probably should have explained that in the beginning. So I did my first experiment, Fit to Fit experiment in 2011. Learned a lot from it. I was super humbled. I was 31 years old at the time. I turned 40 in a couple weeks. And so I've decided to embark on this journey yet again to really drive this message of the importance of empathy. And that's why this time around, I'm on a mission to disrupt the fitness industry, doing it a second time. I'm up 54 pounds or so in like 16 weeks. I have a couple weeks left to go. So it's been really hard and humbling to do this a second time as a 40-year-old. I'm turning 40 this year. I wanted to do it again because I felt like back in 2011, not a lot of people saw it, and social media wasn't what it is today. I felt like doing it again in 2020. This is a perfect year to do something like this because everyone's struggling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I felt like this would be a huge way to cause less divisiveness and in a way unify a lot of people, because people do care about health and fitness. People do care about wanting to look good and feel good. especially with everything that's going on with COVID, why not take care of your health right now, especially with everything that's going on? So I figured, why not do it again? So here I am, up 54 pounds or so. That's why I'm breathing heavy. So I got a couple weeks left to go, and then the journey back to fit starts January 4th. So this is why I wanted to do it again, because I have such a bigger platform now, and I have more I want to say. You know, I've evolved as far as who I am versus that first time till now, and this time around, it's really about bringing empathy to this industry that lacks empathy.
Ooh,
you know?
Oh man, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
I think from what I've seen, to me, that is probably what sets you apart from everybody else, is the fact that you can really come from a perspective that nobody else is really coming from, which is, I am documenting this journey.
Yeah.
I am going through the same things that you're going through. Yeah. Not in the past, because people, even when you have a story, right? Because I notice it with my story. I'll tell people, hey, listen, I come from poverty, I come from this, but they still have a hard time believing me because they haven't seen it. You know exactly. What I'm saying? Like, they still figure that I had some sort of luck. It happened to me. But in your perspective, you're literally documenting the whole journey.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking to myself, like, I have no excuse now. You know what I'm saying? Like, all my excuses went out the window when I seen you do it. So tell us about that process. Like, tell us how it's affected, you. Like, just how it's affected your entire just way of thinking and being.
So I went into this journey thinking it would be easier than my first time around, because I was like, I've already learned my lessons. I kind of know what it's like. Man, was I wrong. I kind of bit off more than I could chew. And I've done some pretty hard things in my life, you know? This is right up there with like some of the hardest things, because this is what I want to do this time around, is make it way more educational. So people get to see the physical changes in me, but they also get to see, okay, from a medical perspective, the blood work I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Also, they get to see my stories every single day, and my vlogs and my podcast that I'm documenting all the mental and emotional struggles that I've had. And this is what is so powerful about this journey, is I'm trying to help people become more aware of, when you eat unhealthy food and you don't exercise and you don't treat your body kind, it doesn't just make you gain fat. That's just one thing that it does, right?
Yeah.
But it affects the way you sleep. It affects your hormones. It affects your stress levels. Yeah. It affects your ability to handle stress. So if my girls were here that are 9 and 11, they would tell you they don't like this journey because they're like, Daddy's less patient. He's not as nice. And it's not so much that I'm just like this mean person. I'm sleep deprived, one, so I'm not sleeping as good throughout the night. And when you're not sleeping throughout the night, your hormones shift, right? So your cortisol spikes through the roof, your testosterone drops. And when those things change, you're not the same version of yourself. You know, like for me, I'm more emotional. So like, I'll cry during commercials. Like my girls will get mad at me, and I'll like, why is this happening? And like my ability to handle stress is not what it was. And to be totally honest and open, you know about this. You know, I had a girlfriend for the past 2 years, and she was with me for the first 3 months of this journey, and we joked about us breaking up. And this is really hard for me to still talk about because it's new. We actually went through a breakup 2-3 weeks ago, and it was not easy. It's still not easy, and it was really hard. And here's the thing, because I know you're probably wondering this, and other people are wondering this, is like, did this journey cause you guys to break up?
Yeah.
We've had issues before this that we've tried to work through. This journey just amplified those issues. Like I said, my ability to handle stress is not what it was. So let me kind of paint a picture. And this is something that a lot of new parents with a newborn baby might understand. When you're sleep deprived and you're not sleeping throughout the night, you wake up, you're really exhausted, right? So you're kind of in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, any kind of stress from kids, girlfriend, business, finances, you're like, okay, what's the easiest way to get out of this situation, because it's too much stress for my brain and my body to handle. So you're just like putting Band-Aids on everything, right? I'm not showing up as present as I should be. I'm not as, I'm not like my nicest self, right? Yeah. I'm not like this mean jerk, but I am more reactive. And anyone that's sleep deprived will tell you, you do become more reactive when you're not sleeping and your hormones are shifting. And so when she's stressed out, she needs attention. I'm like, look, I'm going through my own stuff. I can't give you that, but I know she needs that. And there's just some times where I'm like, I can't do any more than I'm doing.
Right.
Does that make sense? And so it's amplified those issues that we've had. And
no, I get it. So what you're saying is the journey exacerbated certain areas where she may have needed you.
Yeah.
Like kind of like even more. It's kind of like she needed you in certain areas.
Yeah.
But since she hasn't been getting those, now she needs you even more in those areas, and you're less effective.
Exactly, way less effective.
Yeah. And so that has just kind of like compounded the issues that you guys already had. So I see. So basically, it's like it doesn't help in those relationships.
For sure.
So so if you had to say just say one big thing in terms of how this affects your relationships and what you would encourage people to do, what would it be? So like, for example, I noticed that you said it kind of affects you in all aspects of your mind, and your body. But if you had to encourage people that are struggling on this journey, and tell them, hey, listen, this is kind of like a call to probably look out for in your relationships, what would that be?
That's a really good question. And it would be take care, and this is going to sound kind of selfish, but I promise you it's not. Take care of your health first and foremost, because if you're pouring from an empty cup, you're going to get burnt out. And so this is what's happened to me, and so many people have messaged me since this breakup and they're messaging me like, this has been a huge eye-opener for how, like, me and how I show up to my wife. And now it's starting to connect the dots for people. Like, if you're taking care of your nutrition, you're eating like mostly healthy food.
Yeah.
If you're exercising, if you're focusing on getting good amounts of sleep, and you're managing your stress the best you can, I promise you will show up to your significant other way better than you can when you're sleep deprived, you're just eating like shit, you're not exercising. And so that's what I would tell people is, I know it sounds selfish to take care of yourself first and foremost, but I promise you, the version of you that will show up for that person is gonna be so much better than that person that's constantly pouring from an empty cup.
Wow.
But our society tells us we're selfish if we do that, right? But then we are pouring from an empty cup, and then you're going to get burnt out eventually.
One of the things about the entrepreneurship journey, to tie it into what you were saying, like, I've always thought, like, this journey that I'm on, I feel like it's bigger than me. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But if I don't take care of myself first, then I can't maximize my utility on earth.
Yes.
I can't maximize my journey. Yeah. I can't maximize my impact.
Yeah.
And so from a holistic perspective of taking care of your mind, your body, getting fit, this isn't really actually even just about you. It is about everybody.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because you have to take care of yourself first in order to take care of everybody.
It's so true.
And I don't want people getting to think like, you have to take care of everybody. But the point is, the people that are impacted by you are impacted by the fact that, maybe you could be, a little bit nicer. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could have a little bit more patience or have a little bit more time. And the physiological changes and the mental changes that happen to us when we are going through an unhealthy process. Mm-hmm. Because, it's just like, what you feed your mind, you know what I'm saying? If you're feeding your mind unhealthy stuff, then you're going to put out unhealthy stuff.
Yeah.
If you feed your body unhealthy stuff, then you're going to put out unhealthy stuff. So that's, your relationships, because I believe that relationships are like one of the most important things you can have anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to networking, when it comes to building your business, your personal life, you got to be able to network with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you're not like your best self, showing up as your best self, then you could damage, your relationships. That's, So what if somebody wanted to join your journey, right?
Uh-huh.
Watch your journey. They want to watch you go through the process. Yeah. And they're looking at this video and they're like, you know what? I need to. Yeah. What? How are they going to follow you, man?
Yeah. Well, first of all, don't do what I'm doing right now. Do the opposite of what I'm doing. But no, this is what's so cool about this journey is it's so unique. Something that no one's ever done before in this industry is I'm inviting people to do the journey with me back to fit. Mm-hmm. So here you have someone who's, a leader in the industry, but I don't look like a leader because I'm leading from the back. Instead of, I kind of compare it to being on top of this mountain of fitness. Like, here's all the fit Instagram models, and everyone's at the bottom trying to get to the top. Yelling, or the view from the top is so much easier. It's like, oh yeah, just do this, and then boom, you'll get to the top. Mm-hmm. But if you never experience that climb up, you don't really know how hard that climb up is. So people can join me on the journey back to fit starting January 4th. Just go to my website, fat2fit.com. So fit2fat2fit.com. And that's all my social media handles as well. People want to join me. And then we'll have people from all over the world, and me included. And I bet you there's going to be people running circles around me, because I'm going to be, like I said, I haven't worked out in 4 months. Zero exercise.
Wow, this is some heavy dedication.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the journey getting back to fit starting in January.
So one of the things I did want to ask you, though, I know you kind of explained the difference between what it was like 10 years ago and doing it now. But what was kind of like the final catalyst that made you say, I'm going to do this at 40?
Yeah. It was the beginning of 2020, to be honest with you, and how crazy things turned, right? And how divisive things started to become. And I've been teasing this idea in my head, like, all right, I'm thinking about doing it again, but what would be my why? Why would I really need to? I had to have a really strong why, because I used to tell people I would never do this again because I've learned all the lessons from doing it once. I know what I needed or I know what changed in me, and I don't really need to change anymore. So why do it again? And I couldn't come up with a reason for a long time until the beginning of this year. 2020 happened, crazy things, the whole pandemic. I'm like, you know what? I think this is the year I'm turning 40. It's been 10 years. Social media wasn't what it is today. And seeing how divided the world started to become, when the pandemic started to become politicized. And I was like, man, there's no better time than a message of empathy. Even though I'm mostly talking to the fitness industry, the message of empathy needs to happen now.
Yeah.
And so doing this year was the perfect timing for me to try and bring more empathy to one industry, but hopefully it carries over into other areas of people's lives.
Wow.
So
amazing. Dude, like, I am just so inspired by your journey.
Thank you, man. You're going to do it with me, right?
Absolutely.
We're gonna do the journey back to, all right, so I want to see these vlogs of Travis doing like, all right, man, here's what I got to eat today. Here's my workout. If Drew can do it, I can do it.
I'm there, man. Like, I can't, like, you have inspired me to the point where I'm like, yo, if I have an excuse now, then I'm just like, so.
I hear you.
Yeah, so listen, I really appreciate it. I think your story is one of the most powerful stories. I tell people all the time, I say, this is the David Goggins of Utah.
Thank you, man. Dude, I don't know about that, man. He's definitely, I respect him so much.
Yeah, But
I'm more of an empathetic guy. I'm not as hardcore as like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, so let me tell you, I agree. No,
but a different style.
It's different style. But what I mean by that is, like, when I used to watch your stuff all the time, you used to be used to go on runs all the time.
100-mile run.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, this is a David Goggins in Utah. That's what I used to think all the time.
Thank you.
Now I know the styles is a little bit different, but I'm just talking about from the fitness perspective.
Yeah.
I used to get inspired in that way.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate
just
that.
to watch you. Because I didn't know you was going to go through this journey. I met you before.
Yeah, you met me when I was fit, and I had done it years ago.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, like, and then I'm watching you, create this journey, and I'm like, is he really going to do this again? This is what I'm thinking about. Is he really going to do this again? And then I'm like, I thought it was like a prank at first. When you said,
really?
Yeah, I'm like, he's not going to. And then he did. I'm like, yo, this dude's really getting fat again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if he goes back on this journey, I have no choice but to join it because I have no excuse. And man. So I really appreciate you doing this, not only for myself but for everybody out there.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% that empathy comes first. I think that we all we're all inspired by like the Steve Jobs and stuff like that, like the hardcore CEOs.
Yeah.
But the truth is, empathy comes first. Empathy wins.
Yeah.
What we're actually chasing is like happiness.
Yeah.
Right? We all want to be happy.
Yeah.
Right? And how we connect with individuals, how we build with individuals is how we create a happier existence, a happier space for everybody. Right? And I think at the core, what you're doing creates that. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter, what background you come from, what political background, what economic background. If we come from an empathetic standpoint, that is the key to just creating a better environment for all of us to be successful, to be happy, and to have a better planet. Yeah. So, man, thank you for really sharing your story and really being a leader in this, because I don't really know anybody. To go back to David Goggins, I don't know anybody that's David. David is like, yo, I don't care what you do.
I did a funny Insta story today. I said, what would you rather do, run 100 miles in 24 hours or get fat for 4 months with no exercise? And almost everyone's choosing the 100 miles.
Yeah.
Because that's like, all right, that's 24 hours of torture. But that's the thing is, when I had my TV show on A&E, you go back and look at that footage, every single trainer, dude, they like, you wouldn't wish this upon anyone, right? But people do this to themselves on purpose, slowly, every single day. It's not like, you know, what I'm doing in 4 months is definitely really extreme, 60 pounds in 4 months. But people gain 50, 60 pounds over the course of 5, 10 years, kids, grandkids, like you just kind of slowly let yourself go. And then before you know it, you're like, man, I'm 50 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
And like, so what I'm doing is hopefully making people more aware of it. It's like, it's a constant day in, day out thing. Like, all right, am I better today than I was yesterday? Because before you know it, slowly creeps up. And then you're like, oh man, I got type 2 diabetes or this or that, like some kind of medical condition. It's like, now I got to change my ways. And this is in the entrepreneurship world, it's, hey, sacrifice my health, so don't sleep and just grind to get this wealth. And then before you know it, your body's shutting down. So you got to use that wealth to get your health back. And when you're 60, 70, 80. And then before you know it, you're dead.
Yeah, that's
the
dark side of entrepreneurship that people don't talk about.
Yeah, it's that grind of like, all right, sacrifice more, you know, divorce or, you know, break up with this person and just like, all right, I got no sleep. And just sacrifice yourself for this dream that you think is going to make you happier. But did that process, you know, that climb up, did that really make you happier? Or there's a difference between happiness and fulfillment for me. A lot of things make you happy in this life, but fulfillment is like, all right, sleeping easy at night. Yeah, it's deeper than that. So that's a whole nother vlog.
I agree with that though. Like fulfillment, happiness is more of a right now thing.
Yeah.
Fulfillment is more of a longevity thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I measure the two. You know what? You know, different things can make you happy now. Like I can go to the store and buy some food and this is gonna make me happy.
Oh yeah, ice cream makes me happy.
But in order to be fulfilled, like we're talking like purpose driven stuff.
Yeah.
At that point. So yeah, man, you know, again, thank you so much, man.
Thanks again, Travis.
Everybody listen. Follow him, 50 Fat to Fit on everything.
Yep.
Right? Follow the journey. Be a part of the journey. And really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
And we'll check out. We should check in with you.
Yeah.
Just keep you accountable.
I promise you, man. I got you.
Because it's one thing to say like I'm going to do it, but then actually doing it. I mean, you already said to your audience. I'm sure your audience. Keep you accountable, right?
No, it's done, man.
Okay, cool.
I'm already signed up to your. I don't know if I'm signed up to that particular thing, but I am signed up to your email list.
Okay, yeah.
But I got to get signed up to start that journey with you.
It's all good. Yeah, I'll help you out.
All right, guys.
See ya.